Spain, frozen in chaos. Unstoppable hailstorm turns towns into ice rivers. It came without mercy. On June 11, 2025, a massive hailstorm slammed into northern Spain and caught the entire region off guard. In less than 30 minutes, peaceful towns like Lagroño, Navarrete, and others in La Rioja were buried under thick layers of ice. What began as an ordinary weather alert turned into a full-blown natural disaster that paralyzed cities, flooded streets, and left thousands in shock. The sky turned black before sunset. Winds howled across the rooftops, and the first wave of hail hit with explosive force. Stones the size of golf balls smashed windows, dented vehicles, and buried roads. In Lagroño, people waded through knee-deep hail that overwhelmed drainage systems and turned entire streets into white rivers. Cars stalled, trees cracked, and roofs shook under the impact. The city was drowning, not in water, but in ice. In Navarrete, the storm was even worse. Huge blocks of hail accumulated in minutes, piling like chunks of concrete fallen from the sky. At 8:30 p.m., the storm struck. By 8:37, the center of town was underwater. Just minutes later, homes and garages were flooding fast. In low-lying areas like La Garnacha and around the Nuestra Señora del Sagrario school, the situation became critical. Parents rushed to collect their children, but the entrance was already blocked by hail and water. Classes were suspended. The school was shut down. The AIMD Meteorological Agency had issued an orange alert earlier in the day, but the speed and intensity of the storm exceeded all expectations. These storms were erratic and nearly impossible to track. The damage was immediate. Madrid, hundreds of kilometers away, was hit in the afternoon. Gray skies turned white as hail pounded the capital for nearly an hour. Parks and pools were closed. The iconic Retiro Park and 8 others were shut by 9 p.m. Driving became impossible on highways like the M40 and M30. A tree fell onto a moving car. One witness simply said, "I've never seen anything like it." 11 communities across Spain were placed on high alert. The state meteorological agency raised the warning level from yellow to orange and confirmed that hailstones exceeded 2 centimeters in many areas. Forecasts indicated more storms were forming over Castilla, León, and Galicia and could hit central and northern Spain within hours. Residents were told to stay indoors, but by then, many were already dealing with collapsed ceilings, flooded basements, and frozen streets.
¿Qué pasó, chaval? ¿Se está metiendo un poco o no? Mira, mira, mira. Mira cómo baja. La madre que me parió.
Social media exploded with footage. In every clip, chaos reigned. Streets looked like rivers of glass. Ice smashed down on vehicles. Children screamed.
Elderly residents were helped through layers of frozen slush. For some, the sound of hail hitting their rooftops was like machine gun fire. Dozens were treated for injuries related to falling debris, slipping on ice, or being struck by hail. The psychological impact spread quickly. People who had never feared the weather were now terrified of what the next cloud might bring. In farming communities like Calahorra and Arnadu, the losses were devastating. Crops were destroyed. Livestock shelters collapsed under the weight of accumulated hail. Power outages were reported across several towns. In some neighborhoods, help couldn't arrive because the roads were blocked by ice. Emergency responders worked through the night with snowplows and pumps, but progress was slow. The storm hadn't just passed, it had paralyzed entire regions. Experts later explained that the storm was the result of two pressure systems colliding above the Iberian Peninsula. The instability had been brewing since June 10, but no model accurately predicted the scale of destruction. It was nature unleashed. No warning could have fully prepared the population for what they experienced. In La Rioja alone, hundreds of homes reported structural damage. Insurance companies were overwhelmed by the volume of claims.
In Madrid, businesses were forced to close. Some metro stations flooded. The city, known for its resilience, found itself vulnerable to a kind of weather it rarely faces. And the worst part? This could happen again. Meteorologists warned that the same unstable air mass still lingered over the region. More storms could form within the week. The public was advised to stay alert and monitor local warnings closely. As emergency teams assessed the damage, residents began cleaning up. But there was more than physical debris left behind. Many people spoke of a deep fear that this was only the beginning. Climate patterns across Europe have become increasingly unpredictable. Heat waves, droughts, and now violent hailstorms have struck with little warning. Cities like Madrid and Lagroño must now ask themselves hard questions. Are they prepared for the next time? The Spanish government has mobilized relief funds and pledged to support affected areas. In the coming days, infrastructure repair, insurance disbursement, and cleanup will dominate headlines. But long after the ice melts, one truth will remain. Nature doesn't follow rules. It doesn't wait, and it doesn't show mercy. This wasn't just a freak storm. It was a warning. It showed how quickly the familiar can disappear, how a quiet street can become a disaster zone in 10 minutes, how weather, once predictable, is now something we must fear. For many, the question is no longer what happened, but what's next. If this hit your town, would you be ready? Would your home survive? Would your family know what to do? This is the world we live in now. Spain saw it first. Others will follow.